Hello, we're going to talk about learning story development with the Bible. And definition is a protagonist is the leading character or one of the major characters in a drama, movie, novel, or other fictional text. In the Bible, of course, is God. The second one is definition is antagonist character, a person who is opposed to or struggle against or compete with another opponent, adversary, which is the devil. So this is important to definition to understand what's going on next one. So what is a moral? A person has does good morals. What is a more immoral? Someone who does bad morals is basically it. Protagonist, as we discussed it before, he's a main character. Antagonist is his adversary, his enemy basically. Sorry, the moral character. A hero is a protagonist and he's moral. An immoral and protagonist is an anti-hero. An immoral and as antagonist is an anti-villain. An immoral and antagonist is a villain. So basically, this is the basic of the thing. And we're gonna discuss it more. Just I want you to picture this graph or a table in front of you. So we're going to talk about Joseph the Honest story in Genesis 37 until the end of the book. Definition hero character, a main character in literature, and the hero character may possess great or admirable qualities and be forced to overcome obstacles in the course of the journey. So basically, a hero is a good guy who have to deal with something bad. So in the best example, what the audience wants, the audience learn good morals from the character. And the character wants to be a moral and do what is right. The audience is rooting for him or her to win and succeed. If something bad happened to the character, the reader cries and brokenhearted. So that's why I use this as a hero. So we're rooting for him. The morals are nobody's perfect, but very high and overall good. And of course, when something bad happened, we our heart broken. That's how we get cry in movies and books and stuff because something bad happened to the hero. And when the hero acted in an immoral, the media, which is the book, the movie, everything, will show he faking it. And the audience feels unease when the character is being immoral. Sometimes in the story, he does something bad, and we like while we're sitting and watching the movie or reading, what? That's not his character. And then later we find out, no, he's faking it. Or like in the book, in the Bible story, Joseph, when he's being mean to his brothers, he goes into another room and he starts to cry. It starts feels like bad about it. So that's why when we're reading the book, the Bible story about Joseph or watching a movie about Joseph, we feel at ease. He's not being bad. He's faking it. So, of course, the definition of a villain character, a character portrays evil and immoral behavior. In this example is Potiphar's wife, 100% she's evil. She's falsely accused him. So what is the audience wants? The character is immoral. The reader learns what not to do. Root against him or her. The reader wants him or her to lose. The reader understands he and she lost because God judgment. If something bad happened to the characters, the reader is happy, feels the world is just. So that's why I made this. The villain is we are rooting for against them, and moral is down to the is zero. Okay, so and of course. We're happy that something bad happened to them, and because God is just. So, if we hear something happen to the Potiphar's wife, we'll be glad about it. But the Bible never mentioned anything. So definition of anti-hero character is a very difficult one because sometimes it's hard to understand because it's a new vocabulary in the literature, but let's talk about it. Is a protagonist or secondary character of a drama or a narrative who is notably lacking in her heroic qualities. Is Jacob. Jacob, we love Jacob, right? But Jacob did a lot of crazy stuff. He lied about first thing he did, he lied to his father, but like a bad thing. But let's focus on the story. What Jacob did. Jacob gave to Joseph a nice coat, a colored coat, and not he didn't give anything to his brothers. So in the story, he's a bad because he differentiated between them. And we know the story what will happen next, right? So definition of dual protagonist characters. The two characters are central to the story and are usually equally important. The relationship is often the center to the plot. So in the story of Joseph, it's coming out from the story of Jacob. So Jacob lived until Joseph came back to him when he met they met again in Egypt. So it's basically the story of Joseph. His main goal is to see his dad again. So it's dual protagonist, and it happens a lot in love stories, romance, family stories. That there's two characters who are working together. So, what is the reader wants from the anti-hero? The character does good things and bad things. A character makes mistakes that the readers can learn from and avoid, and character does good things that the reader can learn and copy. Okay, so we're rooting for him. The reader root for him or her because they see themselves in the character, and the reader wants him or her to win, and the reader understand if he or she lost because of God's judgment. So definition of anti-villain character. This is also a unique one because it's new to many people's definitions in the literature. Unlike their evil counterpart, are not completely monsters. This makes them particularly hard to hate, and they are antagonists to the hero. So in the story, Potiphar's wife accused Joseph that he tried to seduce her. And so Potiphar probably knows that his wife does that a lot, maybe. He put him in the prison, but maybe he could killed him. Or maybe he could done bad, torture him to death. He put him in prison, and seems in the story, he put him in a nice side of the prison because the people he met in the prison are the baker and the wine taster for the king. So an American system probably will be like the low security prison. What the reader wants, the character is the same thing. We will learn from their mistake and we learn from the good stuff. And the reader root against him or her, and the reader wants him and her to lose if the result the hero to win. If some things bad happen to the characters, the reader will be sad. They don't want them to win because they like the hero more. So it's not in the story of Joseph much, but other stories. Anti-villain, let's say a story about crime, okay, and the main character is criminal. The anti-villain is the police. They're doing their job. They want to capture the criminal. Definitions: antagonist relation character, a person that the protagonist want to have a relationship with, but this character opposes the protagonist or sabotage the protagonist's goal. And the best people who does that in the Bible, of course, Adam and his seed and his children, which is us. Basically, humanity is antagonist in relationship to God. God wants a relationship with us, but we're giving him hard time. Anti-hero character or antagonist relationship character like Jacob is they love each other but they go against each other. This is the idea of it. Like for example, romance movie and there's a breakup. They are trying to work together, but sometimes something happened make them break apart. Also, anti-villain character is with the antagonist relationship character is the same thing, brotherly rival in this one. So, like, the villain is someone that the hero loves, but sometimes they cannot work it out together and they sabotage each other's goals. And the definition of relationship character, a person that a protagonist has a relationship with or wants a relationship with, but this character is not doesn't sabotage like the other character. Just his neutral character, neither a hero nor a villain like Benjamin. So Benjamin is went with the flow. Here, divine providence character. Oh my God, he's one. This is in the Bible is It happens many times. And the best one in this story is the slave traders, a character that God sent for the short time to change the direction of the story, a character who's in the right place at the right time. If we remember the story of Joseph, his brothers beat him up and throw him in a well, and his brothers didn't know what to do with him. Some they want to kill him, take him out from the well, but they were afraid that he would run to Jacob and tell him what they did. There was a third option, which the slave traders. So they agreed together to sell him as a slave to Egypt. So, and also when we learn the story in the end, he saved Egypt from famine, and also saved them from famine. So, and God wants him to be in Egypt to help with the famine. So divine providence is a character who comes from God, who changed the story 100%, 180 degrees. So this is, and we're gonna talk about this character more in details later in another presentation. And of course, in conclusion, we have hero, anti-hero, and villain and anti-villain. And here is I like pictures here. I use the pictures to explain it.